Hello. Let me get back to the chat. Sorry, I had to change around the time a little bit. And then I made it. Hey, Batty, and Life Rewinded, and Sandy, and November Rain. Hey, Sin. Amanda's here already. Didn't even get my
I just
haze.
might have to mute.
Quick.
Yeah, I thought it was going to call sooner than you did.
Well, I'll go ahead and I won't make them wait as long. What was I saying? I was just saying, hey. Oh, I wanted to get the chat pulled up. Shut up. That was me talking. Hey, Kimmy. Get the chat popped out. Okay. So, can I talk to you if I'm muted? Do you want to go ahead and get started, or do you want to wait on the phone call?
We can start. I mean, because you know just as much as I do about today's part of it. So if I have to mute, you did, like, I think you know just as much as I do about the stuff we're going to talk about today. So
I do, but I didn't write down as much as you did. So I didn't fill in, but I watched both videos of what you're going to talk about. So
okay, well, we should be good then.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, so all right. Yesterday we left off like when she went to the fellowship, right?
Yes, we made it to the fellowship when she had just started moving in and kind of just getting worked in there, not really into it much at all.
All right. Wow. Okay, so she had a really hard time. Right? Yeah, she's in New York now, and she had a really hard time adjusting to her new life because she didn't realize she was going to have to work, and she had lied on the application and said she was a nurse, and she wasn't, and she was going to have to try to use those skills that she didn't have, right? So
that was going to be part of the stuff that she was going to do to work her rent off, pretty much. I don't know how else
basically. Yeah, to work her rent off, basically.
Oh, wow.
So she had lied on the application, though, and said she was a nurse, and she wasn't. And just like she lied about everything.
I don't think she ever told the truth, to be honest.
No, she didn't. She didn't ever tell the truth. Like, I couldn't. There was nobody that said, "Oh, Lacey was truthful about anything ever."
No,
she just wasn't.
Lots of things were said. Mm-hmm. That never
happened. No. So, she got there, and it was like, okay, have you ever seen like an efficiency where you get your own bathroom, but you share like a common area and kitchen and all that? That's what they were in. Yeah. And
it kind of reminded me, not exactly, but in my mind was like a Ronald McDonald House type situation, maybe, where she had her own like area, but everything was in a common area, like a living room in the common area, kitchen common area. Everything else was pretty much, you had to be in front of people. You didn't have a lot of privacy.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of privacy, and there was more of like an open door policy. So, hold on. Sorry. Hold on.
Okay. Your time. Phone call. Hey, Blonde PT, I think. Not patient. Okay, so I don't know as much as her off the top of my head, but I'm going to try to fill in some while she's gone because I watched everything, but she took much better notes than I did, clearly. So after she made it to this place that she was just talking about, she couldn't work. The place, like she was saying, the place was much more open to, I don't think she had as much private time. And while she was there during this stay at the place that she was in New York, everybody, like, she always, even before, but she always told everybody how he's so sick all the time. and everybody could see him. He was eating, he was playing, he was doing all the things, so they weren't seeing him sick there. And there was a lady, I don't know the lady's name. She'll know the lady's name. I want to say like Christine or Christy, but I don't know for sure because I don't have notes. But anyways, there was a lady that was either roommates with her or really in close quarters with Lacey at this house. And there were instances there that she picked up on things in this the the common place where they were in open pretty much.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I knew that was going to happen. So sorry. my kids now have hand, foot, and mouth, and one still has COVID. Yep. So, so okay, sorry. Oh my God, I dropped my book, so just bear with me. Lord, I'm getting it together. Okay.
Well, I made it up till there's a lady. I don't remember her name. I think Christine or Christy, maybe.
Christina was her roommate. Yeah, Christina was her roommate. Yeah, I was actually just looking at that.
She picked up on things while she was there. Like she complained to the elite council. What was their names? They had this really official sounding name.
Basically, it was like the board of where they lived, or the landlords,
and they didn't do anything. They were just like, pretty much
mind your business.
Mind your business. Like, shut up about it. And she went there 3 or 4 times at least to complain. Like, this is off. Like, this is weird. She's saying that he won't eat. She's saying that he's sick all the time. He's eating great and he's never sick. Like, what?
And Lacey stole a shirt from her. Okay, she stole a shirt.
Oh yes. Yep.
And she heard him during bath time, and he was like, "Mommy, that hurts, no," screaming at the top of his lungs. And so she went there and said that she felt like he could be being abused. And they told her, "You mind your own business. Like, you don't just step in." And she said what she had heard, and they were not hearing it. They were not having it. They didn't want to hear it. So
I wonder why they didn't. Hey, Bodie. Hey, Bless. I wonder why they didn't have. Do you think she was just that? What's the word? Charismatic, compelling. Like, she was just that convincing that they didn't even believe the lady. Like, they didn't even have to look into it.
Well, okay. So there's
the rug.
Like she ended up leaving. Christina ended up leaving, and she loved it there before Lacey. And she ended up hearing through the grapevines because Lacey was also accusing multiple men of sexual harassment, and one couple actually got kicked out of that compounding over her sexual harassment claims. Okay, another couple was told to stay away from her. I mean, there was multiple incidents, not just with Christine. I didn't know if you knew that part.
Once you've seen, maybe she did have the elite, whatever, the elite of the commune, the board of the elite, convinced, right? But that lady, Christine, once she's seen her like that, she probably seen how she was the whole time. She was like, "Get me out of here." They don't care. They're letting
her. And she also, Christina, before she left too, Lacey started feeling the distance from her, so she changed the story to that Daddy Blake died in the line of duty. She started changing the story up, instead of just died in a car wreck. So she could feel the distance, I guess, but it was they called him the little mayor because he was just having a great time. He loved it there. He enjoyed himself. He got to eat whatever he wanted. Yeah, he was thriving. He, everybody was like, he always eats. Look how many pictures there are of him eating. But a lot of people were noticing that she was saying he couldn't eat and he could eat. They would hear rougher times during the bath and, or grabbing his arm really hard. And
he was still trying to convince people, he's sick. He's sick all the time. She said he was so sick that he needed this. I went and looked up the surgery. I think that the surgery that he had was I'm not going to pronounce it right, but it's like a Nissen funduplication, I think is how you pronounce it, where they cut off they cut off the part of your stomach that can backtrack and put acid if
Uh-huh.
you have acid reflux. So he couldn't, nothing could come from his stomach to his mouth because they cut that
Mm-hmm.
part off. I'm pretty sure that's what she convinced them of. And that would probably be not even that hard to do because really, how else would you go off of but what the mom is saying about the child
Yeah,
for that kind of
right. Well,
surgery?
she also lied on the application too. I don't know if you guys if you caught this when you
Hey,
were listening to
Starlight.
the thing we were listening to, but hey, Starlight, love you. Um, the she lied and said he didn't have any medical ailments. Like he wasn't, nothing was wrong. So when they found out he had a feeding tube, they were in fucking shock. Like what? What do you mean? He's fine. Um,
But
but for
while
some
she
reason
was
she just
there to the people, just not the like the leaders or whatever, the elite people, but the other people, she told them like he's sick, he's so
yes.
sick,
As
blah blah
soon as
blah.
she
But
got there,
he
mm-hmm.
was not. He was running
No, he
around. He was happy. He was thriving. He was doing really well, probably better than he had in a long time because he could eat. He wasn't. She couldn't really get him alone that much. Really, it's probably the best his life had ever was. That's
Yeah,
just
well, then
speculation, but
it was going great. He started going to daycare or like I guess it would be like a school, but
mhm,
it
mhm.
seemed more like a daycare area. But because everything was holistic, so you do have to remember when I'm saying these like daycare or school, it would be like that for. She wanted everything natural, so okay, there was like pictures of him eating peanut butter back home, and she posted them. And the lady
Oh,
said, well, "Why can't he have peanut butter like the other kids?" And
okay.
she needed him to bring Lacey to bring more food because he was eating so much at daycare. And she suggested peanut butter because it's filling and it's got a lot of protein and everything.
Mhm.
And she said, "We don't eat peanut butter. There is absolutely no health to that." Oh my God, I'm so sorry. One sec, hold on.
Okay, you're fine. She said during whenever she was talking about the peanut butter, and she also posted it on her social media because all the while she's doing every single thing that she's doing in real life, she's posting it all on social media. Every bit of it is also being shared with her social medias. But she was like, he's never had peanut butter. He'll never be able to have peanut butter. And that means, and I'm not trying to make
Yeah,
fun of people that make peanut butter for their or make almond butter or nut butter for their kids or whatever. That's awesome.
yeah,
But
me,
she
yeah,
used these things to try to get more attention. I don't know how else to say it, but
yeah. She
she
would,
was like,
yes.
he's never had that and he'll never had that. Like there's no nutrition in peanut butter. That means he's only ever had nut butter and blah blah butter and seed butter and I don't even
And
know
it
all the
wasn't
fucking
true. It
numbers.
was a lie. It was a
Yeah,
lie.
like he's
That was the
had
whole
plenty
lie.
of peanut
So she told the babysitter when she started talking about how much food he was eating, she started talking, or she started saying he was really sick. She was going to take him to the pediatrician. I mean, there was some other thing. Oh, before we move on to the bad time, like this is like the third husband that she's convinced the wife to let her sleep with. But there was a woman
mind
there,
boggling.
and I think her name was Una or Uni or something. And she went to her and asked if she could sleep with her husband. And there are rumors that they were sleeping together to make a baby. Like she had a baby fever, right? So bad. And there are rumors that they were sleeping together, but they all say they didn't. Like she was sitting on his lap and being all flirty and shit with somebody else's husband. Bitch, let me fuck.
Hey, Lacey, hey,
Try
Sunshine.
it.
That was
Like just
another
try it.
thing that almost everybody that talked about this from beginning to end, even before he was born, was that she was gonna have right on the verge of having another baby. Like she was talking about it, thinking about it, looking for a man. Even rumors that she was just gonna go to a bar and find a man to have a baby with, like that
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yep. And she would always like she did this
Oh,
thing where people would start to catch on to her and like that, she already ruined one friendship over the whole sleeping with the husband. And there are rumors of this lady. I don't know how she convinced all these women because
that's
I'm
a
telling you
once.
what, there ain't no
That's a
way.
once in a lifetime. That's something you're able to convince something of once in a lifetime.
Right.
This woman was
Right.
able to do it. What three? You said three separate occasions.
Yeah, there was
So
three separate occasions with the husband. There was the one back home, there was one that ruined their friendship, and then there was another one that ruined the friendship, and then there was this one. So
three different people, like three different couples, right?
mm-hmm.
What?
Three
What
different
the
couples. Yeah. So I don't know how she did all that. Like, I just can't. I've tried to be like, that's like, yeah, once in a lifetime. How are you doing this to multiple women? I don't understand.
I don't even know how
Okay,
you
so
go. It's just because she knows how to convince. She knows how to get what she wants in any kind of situation or scenario that she's in. It doesn't matter what the if she wants it, she knows how to go about getting it.
yeah,
Doesn't
and
matter.
you think two different people heard her abusing her kid in the tub, and the lady Christine, she said that she heard her yell at him, "Shut up!" and splash him because he was like, "No, that hurts." Nobody knows what she did, right? But I do know that he was screaming that it hurt, and she told him to shut up and splashed him, and he started crying. And then when he would start crying, she would coddle him, like, and rock him and make it look like she was, like, taking care of him.
Being the best mom in the world. Oh,
Yes,
we
right.
co-sleep, and there was one post that was like, "Oh, I'm a co-sleeper, non peanut butter eating, non GMO, blah 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 blah." Like she
Yeah,
used those things to get attention and look good to other people. She didn't really even do them for him, you know?
yeah. It was really weird. So a lot happened in the fellowship. I mean, she started to fit in a little more, but people just started getting real weary of her, and the sitter started noticing he was eating so much, and the pediatricians wanted to do a feeding test to see how much he needed the G tube, and because all of his blood work, she got caught lying about the Crohn's and the celiac disease. So the walls were closing in. So
So she
she told.
said that the reason he had the tube
Mhm.
was for Crohn's and celiac.
Well, I don't know that she just said he couldn't keep food down, but he didn't have any of that. And so the doctor wanted, he
No.
did have chronic ear infections, which she caused them, but the other things she didn't have, but she was just starting to get caught in a lot of lies. There was nowhere else to run. And she told the sitter, he has been having a real high fever of 103 point something, 103.9. And she said, "Oh my God." And she said, "Well, I'm just going to take him to the pediatrician tomorrow." So she did. And she told him that he had a high fever all week. And the doctor, ran the thermometer, and he was perfect, like 9.8 or 90, 98.0 or whatever. And he was like, "Well, he's fine. And maybe it was a virus. Maybe it passed, but we really
Right.
need to start talking about that uh, feeding test because
Yeah.
it doesn't appear that he needs it."
Okay,
So,
here's the thing with feeding tubes, by the way, for people that don't know.
mhm.
Feeding tubes are a huge, and I kind of think she probably knew this ahead of time, but that's just speculation. But feeding tubes come with a lot of ethical dilemmas, and there's a lot of paperwork and tests you have to do behind. You have to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are okay to take it out when you take it out, and they do not need that anymore. You have to
Yeah,
err on the side of caution. So it's
yeah,
much easier to keep it in than it is for them to just say, "Hey, we're going to take." They can't even really force you to take it out, really.
yeah. I mean, with how much he was eating and everything and gaining so much weight, the doctors could tell. But this doctor also ended up thinking she had Munchausen. So that's another doctor who thought she had
Yes,
Munchausen. But it's so hard. Like, it's not even really neglectful because if they call and they're wrong, that could be their job. Like, they can't just be making reports like willy nilly. And I know
telling
it
you that
sounds
feeding
stupid.
tube thing is a big issue. Talk to anybody that's been around that in a nursing home, especially. It's a really hard issue. There's so much social services and ethical issues that surround a feeding tube by itself. Just it's a lot.
Yeah. So, okay, that night after she talked to the babysitter, there was three Google searches that they could find. She looked for the real Blake. She looked his picture up. She looked up how many days had
That
passed
was
since
it.
October 6, 2011, which was the fake death date. And she looked up normal sodium levels for a child and clicked on an image that was normal ratio in a child's blood, the sodium to blood. So she looked up all of this up the night before she went to the doctor.
didn't she make a post on social media saying something about the anniversary of the death?
Yes.
Something?
I don't have the post though because the
I
posts are
think
super
she
hard to
did.
find. I do believe she had made a post, but you can't. I did manage to find a couple for the video, but I have the whole Twitter. We can scroll through that. I have it. Actually, let me go ahead and upload it just to be safe.
I bet a
Because
lot
it's
of that
just
was on what, Facebook or
Facebook
MySpace?
and Twitter and MySpace. Yep. So
That's probably why.
let
Exactly.
me
It's
go.
monitored heavily. Will it, and it's hard to even understand, like, because the doctor was like, "You need to have this feeding test. You need to have this feeding test," because, but it's hard to understand how they can't even like make her do that, but they really
It's
can't.
not. Yeah,
It's
it's not
it's
that
a
easy.
whole court procedure. It's a whole big ordeal. It's
Yeah.
big ordeal.
So she took him to the doctor, like I said, and she said he's been running temperature. He took it; it was 98.6, and he kind of thought, well, maybe it was a virus. And she sent him home. Well, she did. He did ask if she wanted to go and to a neurologist because she mentioned the seizures, the high fever,
Yeah.
and she declined. She declined it. But she went to social media and said, and all the people all around us said that the doctor didn't take it seriously. He didn't even offer that. And she made some more Google searches, starting around like 8 p.m. that night. Dangers of high sodium levels. What happens to someone if they have sodium levels or high sodium levels in their blood? Um, and then remember that he had I can't even say this, hypernatremia, where I think that's how you say it.
Hypernatremia.
Yeah,
Hypernatremia.
okay, that's the high blood oh my god, high sodium levels in
Mhm.
your blood. He had that as a baby, but I don't think she did that. I wrote because she didn't know a lot about it yet. She would have, but I think it was just like one of those things. And she
Okay,
looked it
so
up.
but so far from right now where you're at, he's never been diagnosed since he was way young
Yeah,
with
about like
hypernatremia
a
or
couple months
anything to
old.
do with sodium
No,
levels. So
no,
she's
but she's
googling
real
it
folk.
already.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
googling it. The following night was when
Wow.
there was another Google search. I'm sorry. Oh wait, I already said that. So the following night, she took him and said that he had 2 seizures, a headache, explosive diarrhea, his eyes rolling. But the doctor was like, he seems fine. What do you mean? And the doctor was super alarmed because wait, I'm sorry. Like the doctor just was super alarmed by her behavior because of Lacey's, like, she was cold and she would ask a lot of questions about sodium intake. You know what I mean?
Is this the
Is
same
it
doctor
sodium
too
high?
that wanted her to
No,
get the feeding test, or is it a different doctor?
no. That's her pediatrician. This
Okay.
is at an emergency room. But he was really cool and he was really concerned because he wouldn't go to Lacey. He didn't want to go. He was really cooperative, really happy and he even said, walk down the hall, because a lot of kids will want to go with mommy or
Yes.
daddy or whatever. And he said, no, I don't want to go with her.
Oh my God.
So, anyways, the CAT scan, the MRI
Wow.
of the head, blood work was all fine. And his sodium level was 147. His chloride levels were good. And Lacey didn't want to have him transferred. She didn't want to. And they ended up sending her home. She had like 2 times home, I do believe, that in between. And she had one pediatrician visit, and it was all really close together, okay? And she went out home and told everybody that he was having seizures, like in the hospital, and they weren't doing anything. Again, it was all her freaking social media. And she lied and said his sodium levels were 197. That is deadly. I'm sorry, 189. They weren't. They were 147. So the next day though, she got a friend. She called a friend and said, "I need a ride to the hospital right now. He's having seizures. He's not well." But she was stopping and taking selfies on the way to the hospital. You can't make this up. She was stopping, taking selfies, snapping selfies. Um, And the lady was like, what the heck? Like, she didn't have a car. So the nurse did take note that his hands were trembling
Hold
and
on.
he was dry
Stop me one
heaving.
second. The first time that not first time ever, but he's actually visibly, physically sick this time. He
Yes,
actually
I was going to
has
say that.
symptoms, stuff going on, and she
Mm-hmm.
stops the
Yes.
car on the way, pulls
Mm-hmm.
over on the side of the road to take pictures of him. And
Mm-hmm.
not only that, she does something else too, right? On the way to the hospital? I think she
I don't
visited
know.
a friend. I think she visited a friend
She was
on
with
the
a
way to the
friend and she
hospital.
kept stopping and taking these weird selfies, like, and then posting them for pity on social media. And
It's almost like she finally got him to where she wanted.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I know. Isn't it like scary? She finally got him like so sick. So,
He's so
the nurse took note of all that, and the doctors kind of got together, and the pediatrician had voiced that he believes she had Munchausen by proxy. He did not believe the seizure stories, and I don't know why she wasn't just halted from seeing him right then. I don't know, because like this kid's physically ill now. It's not like, I try not to
and
be too
she
hard on
has
doctors
right.
because
She
it's
has
like
right. It's a whole court case. Nobody
ugh.
wants to be the doctor that has to go through that and be the one to it's a lot. It's a lot to do.
No, I
And
get it. I get
I
it.
wish she
It's
would have
just
done it, but nobody wants to
yeah,
be that one.
yeah. Well, his blood work when he came in was his sodium was 138, which is good. His chloride was 105, and he seemed to be doing pretty well. Like he was on the video EEG machine, which is like so they can see what's going on visibly, not like inside, because they have all this
Mhm.
tests for inside. But this is just watches him all the time. It's right in front of him. He's got those leads hooked up to that little hat that you wear. You know what I'm talking about? I forget. I
Yeah,
don't know the technical term for it, but so
might have it on here.
anyways, it's so sad. So um, he seemed to be doing really well, and then Sunday morning. Because they saved like the weekend because they wanted to get all these tests ran. Sunday morning, her Google search is 9:08 a.m. where what is salt? Why do people buy salt? What's in it? This essential nervous system, a malignant brain tumor, a benign brain tumor, and an abnormal brain activity. And they were giving him the green light to go home. Like they came in after and um she wasn't real happy. Like, I don't know if we want to play the video now to show. Well, that's not yet that she does that. So maybe we should wait.
Malignant brain tumor. She
Yes.
wanted to make him
And
look like that.
a benign brain tumor. I'll repeat
Wow.
that just to make sure everybody heard me. Her Google searches were what salt, why do we buy it, what's in it, central nervous system, malignant brain tumor, benign brain tumor, abnormal brain activity. That was her Google searches the day they were going to do another MRI the next morning. And as long as that came back good, he was going to get to go home Monday. So the nurse was really taken back though, because like her response was like cold and unhappy. But everybody kept taking note that she wouldn't even get off her phone and like to talk to the doctors to see what was going on. So I learned something new about this case too, and trigger warning coming up. I'm just telling everybody, if child death is going to get to you, like I'm going to give you time to step away because
It's
I
pitiful.
learned something new. Yeah, I didn't know some of what I found out.
Oh gosh, I don't even know if I know.
Okay, so within an hour, she takes him to the bathroom. She leaves him in the bathroom and she goes and grabs something out of her bag, which was out of camera range. They never found out what it was. But less than 1 minute later, she comes back holding his connector tube and a big cup. Okay. All right. She went back to the bathroom for about 3 minutes and he was all bouncing on the bed before this, so happy. He got to watch TV too. That was a big thing. They don't have TVs in the compound. And like, he was so happy. It was like going to be lunchtime. He was watching
looked so
TV.
good.
He looked so happy. He was bouncing all over the place. But when he came back, he looked terrified and drained. And he was like rubbing his nose, which can be a sign of salt, like an allergic reaction to salt or poisoning. She then carried him back to the bathroom again.
Amber.
grabs his connector tube and the cup. She places him back in the bed, and she puts the nurse button close and like sits there and watches him real intensely, which she's never done.
Oh,
she didn't do that.
is it this picture? Hang on. There's a picture of her.
Yeah, she's sitting on the bed with them.
Yes, and she's staring at him. Where's that picture?
But it's not the one where he's smiling. It's not that one.
Okay.
I don't think, because he's not smiling. Okay. He's starting to feel really sick. But she picked up. Beautiful. He was so beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna play the video when it gets closer because I didn't know this isn't even the time he actually recovers from this. I did not know that. I had a stomach ache after watching this today. Like, I'm gonna be honest.
This whole thing okay. Going right now, I didn't even know happened.
Well, that's the thing. Well, I don't want to tell it too much, but she picked up the call button and like was ready to use it. Like it was in her hand. So after a few minutes, he tries to start throwing up again, but he couldn't do that. He couldn't throw up. So at 10:35 a.m., she pushes the call button. Nurse rushes in. He was screaming, digging his head into the bed, dry heaving, holding his head, rubbing his nose into the bed real hard. And the doctor.
By the way, can I just throw something in? The reason why, if you don't know about hypernatremia and how it works, when you have really high levels, and for children, by the way, children don't eat salt like we do anyway. So
no.
It doesn't take much for them to be in high ranges. But when your body's like that, dehydrates, and essentially, right, it makes your brain swell a lot. And that's what was causing him to have seizures, for his head to hurt, for him to want to puke and to have explosive diarrhea, because that's the only way to get it out. But she took him and had the surgery where he couldn't even puke. He couldn't even get it out that way.
Yeah.
So there was. It was, but anyways, it
was real bad
as well. So that's why it does that to him.
And it can cause liquid around your brain. Just remember that for a little while later. And that's what makes you go brain dead, basically. But the doctor came in, he was begging for water, which they took instant note of, because if you're puking, who asks for water? Like, in between screaming and crying, the kid was begging for water. Because what makes you salt makes you thirsty,
Yes. It causes you to be dehydrated.
Yes. So, all right, what they did was they gave him pain meds, nausea meds, pushed through the IV. And then about an hour later, he had really explosive diarrhea. He was shaking, shivering, but his glucose was 240, and they were super concerned about that. His sodium was okay, though. It was back down to 144 and 114. I feel like when he had diarrhea, it pushed it out. Okay, so, and Lacey was like real wanting to know what his labs were, and they weren't telling her. They were just saying it's okay, because they were really, really not.
They were already,
on
to her in a sense. They knew something wasn't like wrong with this situation already, right?
Yeah. So 2 hours later, you see her taking him back into the bathroom, because remember, he's on the video, on the EEG machine. He's on the video. He's on the video. He is. Everything's right there. There's a few things that are out of sight, but if you want to play the video.
On the video, then, right, this is after everything she just told you just happened. But he had gotten it out, and his levels had come down, and he was okay again, right? He was seemingly
he was seemingly going to be okay. He was not. He was he was going to be okay. Or wait, this still isn't the video. There's 3 times. My bad. Jeez, oh Pete. So, but 2 hours later, you see her going back to the bathroom with the cup and the connector. You see her looking down. You see him looking down at the ground and really out of it. And she seemed to be kind of harsh with them, like grabbing his wrist. And after she took him to the bathroom, she changed his diaper. Like, why are you taking him to the bathroom? You know what I mean? Like, he didn't get a bath. You're putting a new diaper on him. He was just in the bathroom. He's 5 too. He's not a baby. So the nurse was
She
called,
couldn't
rushed
just sit
in.
there on the bed
Hmm.
and do
Hmm.
it because at any moment, like they knock before they come in, but they just knock and come in, you know. But if
Hmm.
you're in the
Hmm.
bathroom, you could be like, "We're using the bathroom," even if she's
Yeah.
in the middle of doing something with his feeding tube.
Yeah. So take note that she changes diapers. This was in New York, Juan. So the nurse called, rushed in, and it was the same as before, but only this time his Mickey button was open. She forgot to shut his Mickey button. Like she had just put something in it, but she wasn't supposed to be because he didn't even want they wanted to even monitor the amount of water this kid had, you know?
Yeah,
So same
because the
thing.
salt causes your brain to swell because it pulls
Hmm.
fluid into your brain. So they didn't want him, even though he's dehydrated. He's dehydrated because it's really confusing if you don't know how it works, but you're dehydrated because the sodium causes the fluid to go out of your blood into other parts that it's not supposed to be in, right? So then your blood is dehydrated, but you don't need more fluid to rehydrate you because it'll make your brain swell more. So he
Yes,
was
exactly.
to have none whatsoever.
Right. And so the same as before, he was in real tears this time and rolling around, pain, screaming, and Lacey was screaming. He's having another seizure, and they had just given him the pain meds and nausea meds. They ended up giving him 4 doses of that seizure medicine, and it didn't work, so they had to give him 2 more stronger doses of the seizure medicine. And her friend had come in the meantime, and Lacey like walked out and made phone calls and stuff because that's
At
important
any
when your
one of these
kids.
points, I just want to say, at any one of these points, she could have been like, you know what? This is what I did. Can you
Yes.
reverse it? Any one of
Right.
these points.
She could have told her friend and dipped so she didn't
Yes.
get in
It,
trouble. Like
she could have just
anything.
said, it was an accident. I accidentally put extra blah, blah, blah into his, can you fix it? Anything. She had plenty of chances.
Yes. Ugh. So this is just terrible. Like,
It is.
so she, they wanted to transfer him because it was the seizure. All those medicines weren't working the same way they had before, and they wanted to transfer him to a children's pediatric unit, and because he couldn't breathe on his own, he was actually on life support. The medicines weren't working this time. Lacey was just on the phone, nonchalant, posting, talking on the phone, smiling, all of that. Like,
Because they
ugh,
have no idea why he's having seizures at this point because they retested his bloodstream. He had already pooped again. His levels are down, right? They retested him. Their normal range. They have no idea why he's having a seizure. So they thinking if we give him seizure medication, it's going to help. But it was never going to help. It was never going to help.
no, because his brain waves were slowing down. So this crazy bitch wasn't going to ride in the helicopter. She had to be talked into it, and she was
Mm.
scared, so she didn't want to ride in the helicopter. Like, and there was a snowstorm so
Oh, I bet
bad,
she
and
was
New
scared.
York, like New York is bad, right, for snow and all that. And they had to delay the helicopter ride, so she would not have gotten to him. It probably would have been better if she didn't go in the helicopter,
Yes,
actually.
absolutely.
But they
She was
didn't.
afraid
They
her
were in
instant
panic
karma
mode.
was going to get her right then and there.
Yeah. Um.
Mm.
So Lacey kept asking for the levels to be ran, and the doctor was kind of like, but he wanted to run them again for his own reasons, and he was shocked because it had went from 144 sodium to 182 in 4 hours. And her response when they told her that was she smiled and said, I've been expecting that. Like, what? And the doctor even had it ran again because he didn't believe it. He thought that they were wrong.
Because there's literally only one explanation for that. He's
Mm-hmm.
NPO. He's not allowed to have anything by mouth through his tube. There's only one option at this point. Period. Somebody introduced sodium into him after his levels were already checked. There's no other explanation.
Yeah. So he at about 9:40 he started going on the helicopter, and his sodium was 178, which isn't good, but it's better. Um and like I said, she wasn't gonna ride with him, but she did. But the doctor was after he noticed the G tube, because they had just changed shifts, a light bulb went off. But he was like in panic mode trying to get this kid okay too. You know what I mean? It was
He
just
was
like
trying to save his life.
Yeah. And so, you know, he got there and he seemed to be like doing okay because he was sedated. He, like I said, he wasn't breathing on his own. He started to do a little better. He was starting to do better. And they wanted to take him off of like the sedation because you can't leave that in for too long, you know, the breathing tube, especially when you don't need it. She wanted them to leave it in. Like she wanted the breathing tube to stay in. But the doctor was like, no. And he told her even one drop of water could kill this kid. One drop. Like, one drop of water could kill this kid because the liquid's already. So at 7:30 a.m., the sodium was 172 and dropping, and he could breathe on his own again. And that was like the last time that doctor had seen him. And he was alert and he was asking for water. The next time the sodium was taken, it was 161. The chloride was 131, which I didn't catch all the other chloride, like the exact numbers, but I did on that one. And she was lying on social media, of course. But the emergency bell ended up going off again a little while later, and they saw an empty bottle of water under the bed, and they had told her like no water. He was doing well when the doctor had came. Maybe we should watch that video because
another
I'm a little
trigger warning. This video is it's terrible. It's terrible that he ever had to go through this, but the fact that this video exists, in my opinion, is the only reason she's behind bars. She was just about to get away. We'll go into that, but she was just about to get away with this whole thing until this video that we're about to watch.
Yeah, and the reason I'm going through the facts, I'm just going to go through the facts, and then I have some commentary to add to it, but I figured we could just go through the facts, and then we could add our commentary to it.
Yeah, it's bad. If you don't want to watch, if you don't want to see what she did and see him in that, just click off now. It lasts about how long?
It's like I think it's like 2 minutes. Yeah, it's so 2 minutes.
Come back in 2 minutes. I'm going to play it real quick.
There's no sound. Yes. Okay. And let me tell you guys first, there's no sound because something had, before we play the video too, something had messed up. There was no sound. There's supposed to be sound and video. Something had messed up. It wasn't hooked up right in the sound. And so I just want to tell everybody that well, I'll wait for the salt thing. Okay, go ahead. Do this.
Okay, you ready? Again.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see this, click off now and come back in a few minutes because it's very graphic. Very, very graphic.
Yeah, and I did slow it down even more than the Crime Watch did. I slowed it down even more with some arrows because I felt like it was hard to see.
Probably need to hold on. I need to remove the picture for a second. There we go.
It's only 2 minutes long, so
here we go.
And there's no sound, so we can still talk and explain it. Oh my God, there's no explanation needed. See, he's good. He was well enough to go home.
This is her on the right. That's Lacey.
That's her.
Here they go.
She's taking him to the bathroom.
Look, he was able to get up. She had to help him, but he's walking to the bathroom.
I only didn't play the video part because I didn't want to get you struck. But see,
look at that baby.
Kind of dazed. He's so happy, but he's starting to it's
right after.
Dig his head in and wail, and he's just uncomfortable. You can just see it. And see, he was almost dry heaving. She went back to the bathroom. And I did see him. He's, oh my God, poor thing. There's two big bathroom trips. See how out of it he looks? Did you see that? See, look, right there in her shirt.
Hang on, I'm going to back it up just a second.
I
Right
did
there.
slow down as much as I could without making it like unwatchable. See, it's like
What?
right there. You see something in her hand.
Watch right here. She's covering something, clearly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I put it back again.
Absolutely. She.
And that's when he started.
This is when after they
Oh
got back.
wait,
I don't
if
know.
you,
Oh,
that's what she was posting on her on her social media. See at the bottom, I
oh,
put her post up. I just added it. It
please,
says
please
please.
send G some love. Went from fine to really sick in minutes. This is while he's doing all this, he's coding on the bed. She's putting this on social
Yeah.
media. Between the time that he got sick and the time that happened to the time that he died, she had time to post this. Does it have the other one too?
Yeah,
Hope
at
it
the
does.
very end, I do
Okay.
believe I put the other one. If not, pull it up. Yeah, I had to have. Yeah, at the end, I did.
There it is.
That's the one where he's brain dead. Where he's considered brain dead.
Can't even
Okay, so
that's my baby boy. I'm not ready to let him go. And that's in, like, it was minutes. It wasn't even long. She had the time to put the other one up, then this afterwards.
and there were more in between. I think that I just had a hard time finding them because her social media is no longer there. So I had to search high and low just for those. Okay, so anyways, the doctor checked on him and he was going down. And then the new doctor came in and they saw the bottle of water under the bed. They ordered new labs and scans, and he was totally brain dead after he was like going to be able to come off of the breathing tube. Like he was going to be able to come off of all of that. After all of that, he was such a little fighter. Like that's what, 3 times in a couple of days.
Yep.
And when the new doctor went
3
in, they
at
had
least.
to, yeah, at least 3. Yeah, and I'm not saying
There
that
could have been
not.
3 at the other hospital, and then this was at the new hospital when they flew him out, right? So
Yeah, and
maybe
they thought
even more
it
than
was
3.
looking promising. But when they got there that night, even after all that, it was looking promising. And then all of a sudden, she pushed the emergency bell thing, and boom. So, they were running all this work. They still wanted to find out what was going on. The family was all there, and it was sodium in his body that caused fluid on his brain, and his brain herniated. So,
Meaning that his brain swelled so much because it was already swollen, and like the doctor said, if he gets any more fluid or if his sodium goes up any higher, that he could die from it. And it caused his whatever she did in the bathroom caused his brain to herniate, meaning it goes down into his
oh no, this was
spinal
after the
column.
bathroom. This was when he was on life support. She was
That's
not.
what I'm
They were bringing
saying.
him
But
off of life support. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry.
it
Yeah, I
caused
misunderstood you.
his
Yeah.
brain to swell more, or whatever liquid she put, or sodium even higher, whatever she did,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
caused his brain to push and herniate down into his spinal cord, and that's how he died.
Yeah. So her mom, though, like I know her mom. There was a lot of bad stuff about her mom, but her mom never left his side ever. And she was rubbing it, she didn't show him any compassion. She didn't sit and rub his hand and say it's gonna be okay or anything. That was all her
Her
mom and her
mom, the
friend.
grandma.
Yeah, the grandma
Oh
sat. That
wow,
was who was sat with him the
I didn't know
entire
that.
time, and Lacey was acting a fool the whole time, screaming, "Oh my god, my baby!" Like, and her mom finally went and like yelled at her and told her to get it the fuck together. It's not about you. Get in here. We're going to be pulling the plug from your son soon. And she did. She listened to her mom. She came in there and acted normal for a minute.
Sorry to be so graphic about it too, by the way, to describe what it means, but I think it's really important to understand, because this was so the way everything about I'm speechless. Everything about the way that she went about this, from point A to the end, it's so elusive, and the only way to save a baby's life in this situation, is to see the warning signs and to know like how horrible it can actually be. Like he was being put through pure hell on earth, and nobody even knew it. Hardly nobody.
Yeah, and I want to tell you guys, like, I'm not
Oh,
trying, if I sound cold, it's not my intention. This is just the only way to get through it, is just to be very matter of fact about it and just tell you guys
yes.
what happened, because it's just a terrible story. I want to get the salt picture because I'm going to get ready to talk about, like, what they found. And so I'm not
Okay,
trying to
ready.
sound cold, not yet. I'm almost ready. Or mean, or this is just like, when I was looking at this today, I didn't know a lot of this. Like, I was finishing up what I didn't get to finish yesterday.
I
And I'm
didn't
just like, ugh.
understand even being a nurse, working in. I didn't. I just didn't know. I knew
I'm
what
ready.
Munchausen was.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just didn't understand. I don't know. I don't know. But something about this has just like
Yeah,
boggled
it's
my
bad.
mind. I don't know how
I
else to
I
say it.
know. It's bad. So 10:20 a.m., January 23rd, 2014, he was pronounced brain dead, and within 2 minutes she was posted on Facebook, and the real dad was begging, like, to talk to her to find out what happened. And she had promised to get a hold of him and didn't. And so medical examiner said the
So we
organs were
found out on
fine.
Facebook.
Yeah, he found out, I
Mm,
think, through her old friend from her hometown.
wow.
Um, and the medical examiner said his organs were fine, no reason for what had happened, but they ended up finding 5.5. Is it teaspoons? I always
Hey,
get them.
Tatum.
Is it
Five and a
teaspoons
half
they found?
teaspoons. Yes, five and a half
Okay.
teaspoons.
All right. So let me just tell you what 5.5 teaspoons
Mhm.
of salt is. It's 22 servings of salt. So 69 packets of McDonald's salt. Or how many hot dogs? 69? No, how many
So
hot
just
dogs is that?
imagine, just not to be graphic about this, but I'm sorry. Sit even as a fully grown adult right now, sitting where you all are sitting watching this, okay? To open up 69, everybody knows what a salt packet looks like from McDonald's, right? To open up 69 salt packets from McDonald's and pour them into your mouth, one after another, after another, after another. 69 of those as a fully grown adult. It's unthinkable.
It was really bad. It's so, oh my God, this is really, it's like a story that I think needs to happen. Like, you need to hear about it, but at the same time, it is really bad. So,
I had never heard of it before. I had never heard this story before we looked into
yeah.
it.
And I've
There's other
always
people.
watched stories like this. Yeah. Um, so most kids would puke it out. He couldn't, obviously, and there was no surviving it. He would almost survive, and she would fucking sabotage it like a fool. But um, hold on.
But that's
Sorry.
kind of what they do, though. Usually, they
Mm-hmm.
get them sick to get them better, so they're getting
Yes.
attention through it. But she she took it further, and to the point that it was till she killed, like he was dead.
Yeah. So I sent you a little video. I don't know if we'll have a way to play it, but I can just show the pictures when we get there. So, anyways, the cops were getting suspicious because cops and DHS had been called in because of this was, a rare case, weird case, and they had to do an investigation. And the cops were kind of like thinking, "Oh, well, they must be wrong." Oh my gosh! Hold on one sec. I got to get this. Hold on.
Okay, take it. I'm gonna see if I can find the video. If I'm not wrong, I think there was one of the videos. I'll have to go. I meant to go back and look today, but one of the videos I heard, I swear I heard that maybe somebody in the comments can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but
Okay,
I
I'm
had
here.
heard that she had wrote on social media somewhere
Mm-hmm.
before that she had a daughter that had either gotten really sick from ingesting from hypernatremia or had seizures from or something. I remember hearing that, but I don't know if that's for sure or not. But I think she lied about that in the past
I don't
before.
know.
Yes. I'm going to
Yeah,
look
I
into
don't know
that.
about
I'll put it
that.
on my community post because I swear I heard that, but I don't know for sure. I'll go back and
Yeah,
look for it.
I don't know about that, but I do know that like she lied about a lot of miscarriages, all the assaults and everything, but I'm not sure about that part. I didn't even have time to look today. Because
I
there's way
didn't
more
go
to
back
this
and look
case
either.
too.
Yes.
Sadly, like I'm gonna read the book and then I figured like we could come back and tell the things that we might have missed or whatever.
I don't read books.
Well, no, I'm
want
gonna listen to
this
it.
book. Yes,
Yeah,
I want to read
yeah, I'm
this
gonna
one.
listen to it. Yeah.
Were they not already about to open up an investigation on her anyways?
Yes, they were like right before all this had happened. Yeah, they were.
So the walls were already closing in anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yes.
that's why
Very much
she
so.
pushed it so far.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. And so the cop had to talk to family, obviously, 'cause that's what they do. And he told the dad, like, I'm so sorry about his dad. Are you okay? Sorry, my dog is, oh my God. My dog wants in.
Her.
Oh, goodness. All right. Hold on.
No, you're
Jesus.
fine. Take your time. Amber says it's much more common than people think, especially with Facebook and the psychology of how people get off on attention from social media. Well, they just had a whistleblower came out a few days ago, which that was a little bit different, but there was parts to that that were uh that they seen how detrimental certain social media apps and social media components were to children and to young girls, young boys, and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
care.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, they just kept it going,
Kept it
pushing it harder.
going. Yeah. In and out. Okay. So, anyways, the dad was like, but like just busting her and all the lies that she had already told the cops. And then they got to the part about the dad and he said, wait, or no, the dad's name is Chris. He's back home. Like, what are you talking about? He wasn't a cop. Who's Blake? Like, what are you talking about? So that's when the cops were like, what the heck? And they were interviewing all the people from like the daycares and everything. And somebody said, well, he was on that machine. Where's the recording? Like, where's the recording from the machine? And they said, what recording? Because, they didn't even know what Munchausen was before this. The cop that investigated, he was
Never heard
very
of it.
honest and just said, I never
Mhm.
heard of that. We never had this kind of case.
Nope.
And they found out there was a recording.
By
So,
that cop's neighbor, whom just happened to be a nurse,
mm-hmm.
and mentioned, hey, what about the videos from those machines? He's like,
Yeah,
videos?
he was in the middle interviewing everybody. And he just
Yeah,
like was
what
taking notes and
video?
talking about it. Yeah. He was randomly talking about it
He
and
had no
was
idea,
interviewing
none.
everybody.
And it wasn't
None.
his fault. He just didn't
No.
know that those machines made videos, took videos or whatever. He had no idea.
They're not trained because it's not, it is common, but it's not. It's weird.
It's not something you're not trained to think that to look for that kind of thing all the time.
Yeah, my kids really aren't big on Facebook or Instagram either, but they do like they like the games that are online, but not that stuff too much. I feel you, Amber. So anyways, they were interviewing everybody. He found out about that, and then they had to in the middle of interviewing everybody, a neighbor had called, another neighbor, like from the compound or whatever, and her name was Valerie. We can show her a picture. Let me take this one off. Show her picture, and so she had done something without even thinking about it. She had, yeah.
She called the detectives, right? That's who you're talking about?
Yeah, she called the detectives because at first she was just like in shock. She just wanted to help. And Lacey she had said what everybody says, let me know if I can do anything. And most people say,
exactly.
No. It's up there.
You just lost a child. Let me, if you need help, let me know.
Yeah. So Lacey said, no, no, no. And then she had calling her back and saying, hey, can you take the feeding tube bags and throw them away and just don't say anything to anybody? Please just throw them away. And she was like, okay, okay. And she ended up mentioning it to another neighbor, and he was like, no. Like, what do you mean throw it away? And I guess she said she was on her way to work, and she started thinking about it, and she went and put them in a box. And
I could see how if you had no suspicions whatsoever, if
right,
you just be like, okay, you know,
yeah,
and not think another thing about it, especially if you don't even know there's investigation or any of
mm-hmm.
that stuff.
Yeah, Tara, we discussed the data pretty much more a lot yesterday on part 1 of this. Yeah, he was very much alive. All right. So,
It's in the
anyways, they were
description.
like,
If anybody wants the link. So.
yeah, part 1's pretty. We actually almost, I think, went for like an hour and a half or 2 hours yesterday about
Yes.
it. But, all right, hold on. I'm trying to find this is what she had put it in a box, okay? And it almost looks like milk or whatever. But here, let me show you guys.
Breast milk is what the detective described it as. He said
Yeah, and she
it looked
never,
like breast milk.
yeah, and nobody ever seen her breastfeed. I found that out today.
She said that
Yeah.
she breastfed until he was
55 weeks or 55
50,
months old or something.
yeah, I was gonna say 55. I was like, is that a long time? A long time. She said she breastfed for a very, very long time. Not one person ever seen her breastfeed.
Yeah, and
Ever.
so they had submitted the bags, and there was a lot of other evidence, but this is what's really important, and then I'll show you guys the table too. But they said there was an astronomical amount of sodium were found in the bags.
Wait, so the 5.5 teaspoons were the amount that was in his bloodstream at the time?
Yes, yes,
Wow.
and then this they didn't say an exact amount. An astronomical
Which
amount
is
was what
just off the
a
charts,
lot.
way more than
Yeah,
they could even probably test.
yes. And so hold on, I'm trying to get to I want to show you guys this. This was and they ended up finding 72 medicines that she kept for him.
Yes,
72.
these are bags that you put, like, say that you're on feeding tube, you
Mm-hmm.
they come prepackaged usually, or you can have to mix them yourself, and then you spike them, hang them on the IV pole, and then they hook up to the feeding tube, and it puts the food in through the feeding tube. Some people had to eat that way.
Yeah, and I know like a lot of triplets that had to do that because they're like premature and that causes issues or
Yes.
I just know a
Yeah,
lot of they call
feeding
them
tubes
to moms.
save people's lives. Like, they're a lot of people need them the for the real reasons, you know what I mean? They're really great devices when people need they save people's life that cannot eat on their own, or there's millions of reasons to need a feeding tube. It just so
Yes.
happens that she knew to somehow figure out a way that was what she wanted him to have, and she was able to get it, and once she got it, they couldn't force her to get it. Oh,
Oh,
it's a
thank
mess.
you, Kimberly, for being here. I know you love this. I not love this, but I mean, you were really excited before when I didn't get to do it. Okay,
Aw.
so thank you for being here. Um, okay, so I want to, and if I would have known there was a book first, honestly, we would have did this last because there's a lot
Yes.
of details in the book. So we can definitely read the book and the details that we missed. We can just do a part 3 of like the fillers, all the things that we missed about her. Because I want to make sure we get it all. But this was the table, and okay, it had a candle. That's a cup. Okay, here's all of his medicines, and right here's a big thing of salt right in the front, and that was when they walked in. That's what they were met with, and um,
See, they describe the police described this as a
a shrine.
shrine, yeah, like a
Hmm.
ritual shrine. But then, the other guy was like, well, maybe it could be just a normal display in your house. But to put that there, and then to have all the medications and the salt there with it, I don't know. There's something
Yeah,
weird
there's
about
something
it.
off. Yeah, when you with all the other details. Now, if I just
Yes.
walked in and seen that, I'd be like, okay, well, that's kind of where the salt's there. I don't even know that I'd think about it, but coupled with everything we know, it's a freaking bizarre. Okay, it
Yeah,
is. I
it
mean,
is for sure bizarre. It's
um,
not just that And yes, I did. I have been really busy today, but I'll get back to you and talk to Amanda about it too.
What is it?
A case.
Oh, okay, yeah. We're also going to do
Insurance
one for
case
our
or just something. It's an idea for October.
Okay,
I
cool. Yeah,
really
I'm
have not
down. We're
thought of
also
it.
going to do one for our Aussie friends soon too. All right.
I
So,
want our next case to be another Munchausen thing like
well,
this.
it's kind of like that. It's kind of her name's Zara Baker. It's not really Munchausen, but the stepmom kills her. I mean, she's really mean to her. Um,
So the stepmom killed the stepdaughter. Is what you're saying?
yes, she did. Yeah,
Okay.
she killed. Yeah, she
I
killed
don't know
the.
that.
Okay, so, um,
Yeah, most of the cases are new to me because I wasn't into true crime that long ago. You know what I mean? So
well,
tons
yeah,
of cases I don't know. So it's all really new to me. And
her
I
name's
like
Zara Baker, and
she
it's
even
pretty
said, "Oh yes,
complicated.
she's a witch."
Mm. Yeah. So, anyways, Lacey ended up getting charged, but she lawyered up pretty quick. Like, I guess, she felt the heat and she ended up hiring a lawyer. And we can show her interview after she did get convicted. I mean, we can go over the trial and
Mhm.
stuff next time. I want to read the book before I go over the trial because that's one part that I don't know a lot about the trial.
Me
Like,
either.
I didn't even want to watch it to look at her. Like, I'm just being honest, but I will. We can do another, give us time to read the book and everything, and we can go over the trial another time. But here, if you want to share the screen.
Even here, like if you watch, she hasn't even talked that much after, but the few little things I seen her talking in it, she's so like smug about it, and that's like I said yesterday. Maybe she really believes her lies that she tells, or maybe she just is so I don't know, but she's just like, well, it says homicide on his birth certificate. I mean, on his death certificate. Like,
Yeah, it's really bad.
knowing
Like,
what you did, you know what I mean? Oh,
knowing that you did that. And if you haven't watched part one, please watch part one because yesterday we filled in a lot of her life. This was
yes.
just the end, but okay, sorry.
There's
She
so
so
much leading up
there
to this point. It's
mhm, crazy.
crazy.
Yeah,
What the
she ended up getting found guilty of depraved indifference to a human life. And she got 20, what was it, 20 to life. She's
Wait,
never going
what
to
was
probably
that?
see
What
the
was
day
the
of light.
charge? I'm sorry. What was the
Depraved
charge?
indifference to a human life. And it
Depraved
goes,
indifference to human life.
yes, that's what she got charged with or found guilty of. And she got 20 to life. Um,
That's true.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I have the video for afterwards. And like I said, the trial, I tried to watch it today, but my stomach hurt. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. My stomach hurt so bad after I found out that there was multiple times where he was getting better. And
Yes.
I was like,
It's
I was
so
disgusted. I was,
hard
ugh.
to watch, and then seeing that video and knowing that it's terrible. Can you tell me that one more time? I want to Google it. I just want to see exactly what it
It's
means.
the
Do you
depraved
have a meaning? Yeah.
indifference
Okay.
to a
Depraved
human life.
indifference to a human life. I just want to see exactly. Okay, what is depraved indifference to human life? A person has a depraved indifference to human life when that person has an utter disregard for the value of human life, i.e., a willingness to act not because he or she means to cause grievous harm, but because he or she simply does not care whether or not grievous harm will result. So pretty much saying that, so she didn't get charged with, okay, I'm putting this substance in to cause a certain
Mhm,
outcome. She
mhm.
got charged with, I'm putting this substance in and I'm not telling anybody. So therefore that me not telling anybody led to his death. That's what she got
Yeah, and I
charged.
think I think
Wow.
the reason they went for this charge, they added this charge in where, it was because this is much easier to get found guilty of than say a murder charge. So Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be easier.
I wonder if they could even have convicted her of murder. But I mean, at least she got convicted of something. But that's insane.
That was her charge. She got convicted of right there. Let me pull up the video. Hold on a sec. Let me pull it up.
Person is depraved indifference to human life when a person has an utter disregard for the value of human life. So that means you literally do not do anything to help someone continue to be alive. You get charged with that. I wonder in what other circumstances you could get charged with that exact depraved indifference. A willingness to act, not because he or she means to cause grievous harm, but because he or she simply does not care whether or not grievous harm will result. United States law, depraved heart murder, also known as depraved indifference murder, is a type of murder where an individual acts with depraved indifference to human life and where such acts result in a death despite that individual not explicitly intending to kill. So that's the difference. So you're
sorry, I put the wrong video up. Hold on.
You're fine. So you do the action. You do the thing that causes someone to die, but when you're doing that action, you're not necessarily intending on causing death, but you don't care if I don't understand. Why can't I can't wrap my mind around what exactly that would mean. Like what the difference would mean. A type of murder where an individual acts with a depraved indifference to human life where such results. It's okay. Here's a video. I don't know why that's so. And man, I'm sorry. I didn't know y'all were live. Hey, Shauna.
It's an unusual case. Lacey Spears, a Rockland County mother charged with murdering her son by poisoning him with salt.
But Spears insists the hospital is to blame. 48 Hours Troy Roberts has the only interview with the mother who says all she did was try to save her son's life.
I lost my 5-year-old son, and I'm very saddened that I'll never get to watch him grow up.
How did your son die?
His death certificate says homicide.
Much of Garnet Spears' young life was spent seeking medical attention for often unexplained health issues.
He was in and out of the hospital for the first 9 weeks of his life. And the biggest problem we had was we couldn't get him to eat, so he was losing weight.
Garnet had surgery at 9 months old to insert a feeding tube.
They were hopeful that within time, he wouldn't have so much problems eating.
In January 2014, 5-year-old Garnet was taken again to a hospital. He was admitted with seizure-like symptoms. Later during that hospital stay, Garnet is in distress, stops breathing, and tests showed high levels of sodium, which caused his brain to swell.
This is my 5-year-old son on life support.
2 days later, Garnet is officially declared dead. Doctors could not figure out how Garnet's sodium level had gotten so high unless someone had given him salt. 5 months after Garnet's death, Lacey Spears was charged with murder.
I didn't kill my son. I never poisoned him with salt.
Then why is the sodium level so high?
You would have to ask the hospital that.
Troy Roberts.
You see what I mean? What? Amanda kicked her whole self out of the stream. I did not do that. I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. Obviously I don't understand a lot about Munchausens, and I don't think a lot of people understand a lot about that, but she wasn't even technically charged with murder. I guess they said on the news that she was charged with murder. I don't know. Wow. I know it's awful. Did you kick yourself right out, huh?
Yeah, and I'm having internet issues. So if it happens again, I don't know what's going on. I keeps giving me like that little Wi-Fi thing.
Yeah, I think we're almost done. Yeah.
My God,
Right?
it's so annoying.
I can't take much more of this tonight, anyways. Like, it is so stinking sad. Anyone who has ever eaten hospital food knows there's no way there is salt, toxic levels in their food. And he wasn't even allowed to have anything, not even water, nothing. He was complete, as far as I know, I think he was completely NPO, like nothing at all by mouth at the time. Amanda's gone. We're gonna lose her for the night, I think. I didn't even know you could kill someone that way, but she's so cold. And a matter of fact, I think that's maybe why they charged her with what they did, because it's so, all of the circumstances are just so bizarre and hard to wrap your mind around and hard to prove if there's so much circumstantial evidence. It's a lot of circumstantial evidence. We will never understand. You're right. You're right. I need to stop wrecking my brain about that, because yeah. Her charges, hold on, I'll read them again, Shauna. Her charges were, I had them pulled up because I was trying to figure out exactly what they even mean. It is, she was charged with depraved indifference to human life, which it says in United States law, depraved heart murder, also known as depraved indifference murder, is a type of murder where an individual acts with a depraved indifference to human life, where such acts result in a death, despite that individual not explicitly intending to kill.
Okay, so basically, I don't think they thought they could get murder. I mean, she's still got 20 to life. She's not going to see the light of day, but I don't think they thought they could get full-blown murder.
True. She got convicted. She, is being punished for her crime. So, and that video is what did it. That video that we watched, because
the video and the bags, yes, for sure.
Yeah, they didn't even know. But would they even have looked for the bags if they didn't see the video? You know what I mean? They didn't even know what to look for, really. They didn't even know. So hard. I'm glad they charged that.
I don't know. I mean, because Valerie still would have called. I don't know, though. I mean, well, her dad, the reason that everything started rolling is because her dad said, hey, wait, his dad's not dead. And then the cops started taking it seriously. So maybe Valerie would have called, but yeah, they needed the video.
I almost wonder if, Amanda, remember how you said that her mom was the one that was like right there the whole time? I wonder if they already suspected, like, could she be doing something?
Well, yeah, because the grandma would get into it with her. So I'm sure the grandma told the mom everything that went on when they lived there. I'm sure they suspected it. Like, the video we just watched, November Rain.
Yeah, the one from the it's either from an IV pump. It's from one of the pumps in the room that was in the room.
But Hannah Overton, didn't that case get reversed, or am I thinking of something else, Raquel?
I don't know, but I'll write that down. Hannah Overton.
Yeah, they said she wasn't guilty after all that. So I think, if it's the right case I'm thinking of. Or correct me if I'm mistaken, please.
Oh, by the way, too, and this probably helped. I don't know exactly when she said this, but she said this after the lady had called the detectives and told them about her saying that she needed to throw away the bags, and they found the videos. This is a quote. She says, in quotation, if I mixed something up that killed Garnett, it's not my fault. I didn't murder him. That was a quote she said after that was found.
Yeah, she did say that. Yes. It's the video that we watched where she was taking him in the bathroom and he was digging his head in and all that, and we warned everybody. It didn't have sound though. It's just we were talking over it because the sound would have got us struck.
Yeah. Okay, so are we finished for the night? Are you good for the night?
I'm so drained. Like yes, we can take a break and then we can come back to it after we listen to the book and we look more into the trial. We can do like part 3 maybe next week.
Yeah, I'm totally down for reading the book and looking into this trial. Most definitely. Okay, so we're going to. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say maybe we could share the book and everybody could read it and we could just go over the stuff that we missed because I know without reading the book we probably missed quite a few things, so we could just go back over it and maybe I could share the book link under your video.
It's a great idea. All right, we're going to get off here. Thank you guys for stopping by tonight. And part 1 to this is a part 2, by the way, just to remind you, this is part 2 of 1 and 2. Part 1 is in the description. It's on Amanda's channel. And make sure you're subbed to her. Make sure you watch part 1. We're going to do a part 3. It'll be a little bit, but we're going to do a part 3. And we will see you guys soon. Have a great night.
Have a great night. Thanks for coming. Bye.